The story begins with a horrifying fire incident. In a dark basement, an old man is surrounded by flames, screaming and trying to escape. But wait, here's the strange part. His body is on fire, yet nothing in the wooden hallway around him is burning. After a couple of screams, the man collapses. The next morning, a girl receives a phone call. She is informed that the man who burned last night was none other than her own father. The girl's name is Iris Lark. Though she isn't very old, she quickly realizes that the father who had abandoned her in childhood is now gone. Hearing the news of her father's death, she reaches her old home. Even after seeing her father's burnt body, she neither feels shocked nor sad because she never really had a close relationship with him. She quickly performs the funeral rituals for his body and prepares to leave. But just then, a man stops her. He introduces himself as a lawyer and informs her that her father has left a property for her. The lawyer takes her to an old bar. This bar is quite ancient but still operational. As soon as she enters the bar, she notices a burn mark, and the lawyer tells her that her father died right there. The bar's hallway was creepy and terrifying, but for Iris, this was a stroke of luck. She goes up to the first floor and decides to spend the night on a sofa. But as soon as she falls asleep, she starts hearing strange noises from downstairs. These noises sound like an electric drill. Following the sound, she goes downstairs, but when she tries to open the basement door, she realizes that the door is locked. Suddenly, a man appears. The man introduces himself as Neil. He has an envelope with him, in which he signs papers for 20 lakh rupees. Now she becomes the new owner of the bar, but she didn't know that signing those papers meant agreeing to a dangerous deal. The lawyer gives her the bar keys and an old cassette. Iris returns to the bar and prepares to play the cassette. Just then, her friend Katie arrives. Iris was scared, so she had called her friend. Katie was shocked to see the bar and was about to talk to Iris when Neil also arrived at the bar. Iris remembers the events of the previous night. Together with Katie and Neil, she opens the basement door. But when they turn on the lights, they see that the basement is completely empty. There were only 2 chairs and some old things. Neil's claimed wife was nowhere to be seen. Iris finds all this strange. Suddenly, she notices a big hole in the wall. She thought Neil's wife might be inside that hole. She shouted loudly. The next moment, there was some movement inside the hole. But what came out of the hole shocked all 3 of them. A man with a strange hood over his head slowly came out of the hole. His movement was slow and weird. He started moving directly towards Iris. Out of fear, Iris screamed at him to stop. The shocking thing was that he actually stopped. Iris was stunned to see that the man was obeying her. She told him to sit down, and without saying a word, he sat down. Just then, Neil looked towards the basement. It felt like he had been here before. He took a ring out of his pocket and made a wish. The man then put the ring in his mouth, and a terrifying scene began. Suddenly, the man's fingers transformed into the delicate hands of a woman. Neil slowly lifted the Baghead, but underneath, it wasn't his wife. It was his mother. Actually, that ring was given by Neil's mother to his wife, but Neil had mistakenly taken the wrong one. Neil asked Iris if all this could be undone, but before anyone could do anything, his mother, who was sitting on the chair, vanished. Seeing Neil sitting on the floor, Iris and Katie were completely shocked. Just then, Iris noticed the Baghead lying nearby. She quickly put it back on the man's head. The moment he wore it, the man returned to normal. Iris told him to leave, and the man quietly walked into the hall. But before leaving, he turned back and looked at Iris as if he wanted to say something. Neil was still insisting on meeting his wife, but Iris was so scared by the ghostly scene that she flatly refused. As Neil was leaving, he gave Iris a check and asked for some time to think. After Neil left, Iris remembered her father's cassette. She quickly turned on the TV and played the cassette. In the cassette, her father explained everything. That strange man was actually a magician who could summon the souls of the dead, but each summoning was limited to only 2 minutes. The cassette also revealed that the moment Iris signed the property papers, she became permanently connected to that magician, and in return, the magician would hunt her too. Hearing this, Katie told Iris that she should immediately leave this place. Suddenly, an adventurous idea came to Iris's mind. She thought, why not make a huge profit from the bar and then sell it? Frightened, Katie quickly shut the basement door. But as soon as she turned around, a photo frame hanging on the wall suddenly fell. It was a picture of Iris's uncle. and seeing it made Katie feel something strange. She searched the bar on the internet and found that the bar had started in 1962. At that time, the bar had two owners. One was named Otto Vogler, and the other was a lawyer. For some reason, Otto had committed suicide and mysteriously disappeared. Katie also discovered that the lawyer she had seen earlier was the same one from back then. After that, the bar changed hands several times, but every owner died under unusual circumstances. Eventually, Iris's father bought it, but his fate also ended tragically. Katie was about to tell Iris all of this when Iris returned to the bar with Neil. Iris had convinced Neil to summon his wife once again, but this time she charged him a much higher price. Desperate to see his wife, Neil immediately agreed to the offer. This time, the summoning was completely successful, and the demon turned into Neil's wife. The moment he saw his wife, Neil started questioning her. Had she left him for someone else? Was she killed by some mistress? But the wife coldly replied that she simply hated him. Hearing this answer, Neil was completely stunned. As soon as the 2 minutes were up, Iris quickly grabbed the bag and tried to throw it over the demon. But the monster stopped her and didn't listen to Iris at all. Before Iris could understand anything, the monster itself wore the bag and went back into that hole. This time, while leaving, the monster turned around and looked at Iris with a strange expression. Iris started feeling that something was wrong. She sat at the bar counter, thinking whether she should sell this bar or not. Suddenly, she saw the shadow of her father on the glass of the counter. Iris was suddenly pulled into a strange place where she saw her father summoning her dead mother. Both were talking to each other and looked very happy. But by summoning repeatedly, her father started feeling that he was losing control over the monster. To avoid this, he decided to kill the monster and poured petrol in a small room. But right then, the monster took the form of her mother. Believing the monster's words, Iris's father burned himself alive. He warned Iris to leave this place immediately. Iris tried to say something, but she saw her father's face turning strange. Suddenly, Iris felt her necklace tightening around her neck. She desperately tried to find scissors, but started suffocating and became helpless. Katie arrived on time and cut the chain with the scissors. Katie told Iris that she should leave the bar, but instead of selling it, Iris decided to make a profit from it. This led to an argument between the two, and Katie left angrily. Katie was sitting in her car near the bar when she suddenly remembered the lawyer's old house. To find out the truth, she reached the lawyer's old house, which had completely turned into ruins. There were strange symbols drawn on the walls. Meanwhile, Iris went alone to the basement and tried to summon her father. Iris called her father and asked if there was any way to control the monster, but her father told her that controlling the monster was impossible. Once the contract is signed, the monster and the person become part of the same existence. Iris's father told her never to call him again. Saying this, he disappeared. Sad and heartbroken, Iris drank heavily and eventually passed out from intoxication. At the same time, Katie returned to the bar and went down to the basement. There, she noticed a watch lying on the ground. Suddenly, the monster reappeared in the form of a lawyer. Katie asked him if there was any way to break the curse. The lawyer explained that the curse would continue until either the owner of the curse dies or someone inherits the bar. This curse was connected to an incident that happened 400 years ago. Back then, a priest from a brotherhood found a woman who had the ability to summon spirits. The priest wanted to use her powers, but the woman refused. Enraged, the priest accused her of being a witch and had her burned alive. While dying, the woman sacrificed her life to place a curse. Everyone involved in that incident met a tragic end. To stop the woman, the priest performed a dark ritual and sealed her behind the basement walls. But hundreds of years later, the priest's descendants reopened the seal. They made a contract with the woman to use her powers. Every time her powers were used, she would devour a part of the contractor's soul. This process would continue until she consumed the person entirely. However, the contractor could keep surveillance over the woman. As the lawyer was explaining this, he suddenly transformed into the monster. Katie's screams woke Iris, who had been asleep upstairs. Iris rushed to the basement and heard Katie's voice from the other side of the wall. Iris quickly picked up the lantern. Iris went deep inside the hole, and at the deepest part of the hole she found Katie. But just when she was about to bring her out, she saw Katie's dead body lying in the corner. Suddenly, the Katie standing behind her transformed into a monster. The monster revealed its true form and tried to attack Iris. Terrified, Iris ran out of the basement. As soon as she came out of the basement, she met Neil. Iris sealed the basement door with wooden planks, but due to repeatedly summoning the monster, Iris started feeling dizzy. Neil gave her some medicine. After taking the medicine, Iris fell into a deep sleep. When she woke up, it was already evening. She heard Neil's voice. When she went downstairs, she saw that Neil had opened the basement door. Actually, Neil had secretly stolen the land documents. He wanted to sign a new contract, but the contract had no effect. The monster took the form of Neil's wife and told him that the only way to complete the contract was by killing Iris. Iris overheard their conversation. Influenced by the monster, Neil ran to attack Iris. Iris and Neil fought from the basement all the way to the roof. While running, Iris accidentally fell off the roof. Neil thought Iris was dead. He went to the monster with the contract, but the monster noticed that Iris's name hadn't disappeared yet. Suddenly, the lights in the room started flickering, and Iris stood up again with deep wounds. In reality, Neil's actions failed to change the contract. Instead, he accidentally broke the witch's seal. The witch took Iris's form and brutally killed Neil. With this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts. Also, subscribe to this channel for more horror stories like this.